I think also the one thing that I believe gets lost in the tech sauce is the realistic truth, okay? The reality. I believe that because it's machine learning or AI based, people have this unrealistic expectation that it's perfect, that they're going to get all the results they want. And it's just not the truth. It's not. And like you, those of us in servant leadership roles, we're not going to lie to you. We're going to tell you the hard truth. And if we lose you, and it's okay.
Welcome to the brndBrief podcast, where we discuss the latest trends and key strategies that are driving brand growth. This podcast is powered by Brand Method Media Group, and I'm your host, Kelly Kelly. Today's guest is Dr. Stefany Jones, founder and CEO of Hustle Mama, the magazine for today's powerhouse woman. This publication highlights and supports the entrepreneurial efforts of women of noble purpose who hustle. They help unite, share, teach, lead, and empower families, communities, and the world. Hustle Mama magazine has built an entire movement through media publishing, including the magazine, university, podcast, radio, and app. Welcome to the show, Stefany.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Kelly. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So we'll just jump right in. So I really want to just kind of take it back from founding Hustle Mama magazine to where it stands today. Can you walk us through a little bit of your entrepreneurial journey and the key moments that shape both the magazine's identity and your personal brand as a leader in women's media?
Sure. Thank you so much for asking that, because a lot of people do not understand that even in building a brand and a movement, there is a journey and it takes a lot of time. And there are a lot of lessons learned along the way. Hustle Mama was actually formed as a book. I wrote a book called Hustle Mama in 2000, published in 2002. And that came about from a Women's Day speech that I was giving in a church. And I was reading Proverbs 31, and that was going to be my message. And I said, wait a minute, this is a Hustle Mama. So that's how Hustle Mama was originally born, from my speech in a church to the essays that I published in my book about being a divorced and single mom of 3 children, working 2 and 3 jobs, going to school, going to grad school, and just really having hustles on the side. I had a typing service, I had a resume service, all of those things. And once I finished the book, I started writing and blogging. And then from blogging, I went into the magazine business. Now, the reason why I went into the magazine business is because I tried to make Hustle Mama a column at a very well-known magazine, which shall remain nameless, that's prevalent in the Black community. Okay. And I was turned down. And then I tried to blog, I was turned down. And then I tried to be a contributing writer, and I was turned down. So from those 3 rejections, I said, well, I don't need them to blog or write or to publish. Let me do my own thing. And that's really how it started. And as far as being a leader in the women's movement for brand identity and development, what happens is this. I believe that everyone has an intention when they build any business. Whenever you start any endeavor or you have the ideation phase, I believe that it's very personal and it's very aligned with something in your life. So I believe that's the forefront to everything. So with Hustle Mama, because I was a single mom, because I was an executive, because I had side hustles, because I was working and always trying to make myself better and create a better situation for my children, I believe that that identity in and of itself could resonate with a global audience. And there were a lot of things that were lacking at the time. You're talking about 20 and 30 years ago. The women's movement is not even what it has evolved to be today. Mentoring, mentorship. I mean, let's be real, social media was not in existence. So there was no digitalization of sharing in education and best practices, none of those things. Everything was on a typewriter. So, and I'm dating myself. So when it was time to establish the brand, I wanted to make sure that why I established Hustle Mama would always remain intact because, as you know, things can evolve and society, the environment, the elements, trends can actually alter the original reason for your brand. And so when it was time to grow, I always wanted to keep at the forefront what this was about me just really trying to do a lot of things, do them well, do them to the best of my ability, and see the fruition of my dreams and vision come true. So I hope that answered the question.
Yes, that is an amazing question. And, in doing research before this interview, I am a mom of two, soon to be 9-year-old and soon to be 3-year-old. And to your point, the evolution of, even in a social media space, the community that's flourishing of just support you see for things that, we probably dealt, at least for my oldest, you just dealt with quietly. There was a lot of internal, shame or guilt, or just a lot of things you may be going through. I know with my first child, and she's only almost 9, but at the time, Stefany, I'll tell you, I still thought that postpartum meant you wanted to hurt your baby. So it didn't register to me until several years later that what I was experiencing, because I kept saying to myself, I don't want to hurt her. Like, I just feel all these other major things. So I guess I just deal with it and quietly, and, I don't want to alarm anybody or make them think. And you now know there is a whole spectrum of what you can be feeling, what you're going through. And then the other side of that is making it all work, right? When you do have children and you're working, or you have ambitions and you're starting a business, it's a lot. It's a whole lot going on.
It is a whole lot. And don't forget, relationships too. I was married at first to my children's father, and we were married for 10 years. So even being supportive of him and his entrepreneurship and his endeavors and his goals, and then the children, and then maintaining what you wanted to do and the type of mother you wanted to be, and then going to work, and working your way up the corporate ladder, and then going to school because, back then it was like, okay, get a master's degree after your bachelor's. Okay, get a PhD, go to law school, like do all of these things. And then
when it's all said and done, you feel depleted, right? Like when it's all said and done, when you do have a quiet moment, you may be laying in bed, either getting ready to fall asleep or what, and you're just like, I am drained. I haven't been able to have a single thought of my own, a complete thought, just a moment. And it's such an all-encompassing job to be a mother.
It is. But I think too, the other part of it is, and as you were saying, there's an entire spectrum. We now know that today, and that comes from progress. And back then, especially women of color, and I think I'm a generation older than you, we had the Jet magazines and the Ebonies and the Essences and all of those things. And we would go to those magazines to read and to identify with women who were going through things just like us. And I think when I built Hustle Mama, of course, I built it as a digital platform because that is when we started getting more into the internet. And I kind of wanted it to be a magazine that transcended race, demographics, economies, faith, all of those things. I just wanted women from all walks of life to be able to get something from it that would make their life better, or inspire and empower them to make their communities better, or to make them ready to go, ready, set, go. I'm doing this,
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So speaking of digital and the rise and so much technological growth just within the last 18 months, which technologies have had the most impact on your magazine's content strategy, and how have you used them to enhance your connection with your audience?
Sure. Okay, so first let me just say that while I initially had an English and business background, I went into the tech as well. Okay, so I started off building websites in Flash, and then of course, as we went into CSS and HTML. So I learned all of those skills. So when I first brought the magazine to the market, we were among the first, if not the first, to use flipbook technology. So those PDF flips that you see, we were the first magazine to do that. And I know we were the first because I got the technology from China. it was not here in the US. And I had to go through heavy negotiations with the company that actually created that and licensed it. So we used that. We did the flip technology, and we were the first magazine to have video streaming and audio files coming from the pages. Now, don't get me wrong, back then there were a lot of glitches, because when you're at the forefront of technology, you have to deal with the glitches. It's like anything else. There are certain phone companies, when they release new versions, they go through a glitch phase, right? So when you're using products or technology for your business, it's really beneficial to come in and be a pioneer of what's new on the market, but you must understand that there's going to be a glitch phase when you do that, because you become the test case and you'll become case in use. So we used the flipbook technology. We streamed music and videos. We were the first magazine to do that. We were one of the first magazines to have an app in the App Store, because I was a developer. So I knew about gaming
Well,
apps.
that's convenient.
Wasn't that convenient? But you know what? Let me tell you, people are like, what? Why do you keep going to school? Why do you keep learning that stuff? It was because I couldn't afford to pay the people to do it. So don't get it twisted. Necessity is the mother of invention. So I went to school to build websites because I couldn't afford a web developer. At that time, it was like $6,000, $7,000.
Yeah.
I had put my first app in the app market, and just to have the panels done, it was $10,000. So I was like, I can't be doing this every time it's time to do an app. So, I learned how to do it myself. So, and this was before you could do click and build apps and everything hit the market, before click and build websites. Again, technology advances at the rate of speed and sound. So employing those things for my business were very instrumental. But here's the other caveat to that. When you employ a new technology and you use that and infuse it and integrate it with your business, the first danger is, of course, the glitches, right? The glitch phase on the software side. But the second hindrance can be that you have to now educate your audience. Because we were the first, people didn't understand the flip pages going this way, using their finger to flip the pages or scroll. That part of the user interface or the user experience had not become as global as it is now. So just think about it, when back in the day when you were getting your first app or downloading your app and trying to figure it out, you had to learn how to do those things. And then practice makes perfect. And then the market being flooded with this as the way and the norm. So that was another danger. So we did the flip book, we did the sound, we did the video, but educating the audience of how to use and how to read our magazine in that software was a huge undertaking. We translated into 20 languages at first. By the time our last issue was published, we translate into over 80 languages. And initially we had to do that by hand. There was no such thing as Google Translate. There was no such thing as translators. So when you are evolving as a business and you're building your brand, it's really nice and exciting to use things coming on the market. You know how everybody flooded ChatGPT and Genesis and all that. People are all excited until they realize there are certain commands that yield better results than other ones. And it's not AI, it's actually machine learning, because there's a human being plugging in all that information. And it's really capturing data like a library resource. So once people found out, wait, commands, I have to give it commands. What kind of commands? Oh, I can just ask a question. No, asking a question, giving directed commands are two very different things.
And
they
listen,
yield
the questions people were asking, it's going to give you something that on the surface looks good. People were so excited this time last year. They're like, oh, all I have to do is tell it to make me a marketing plan, ChatGPT. And then it spits out something that at first glance looks really nice. And then you start reading like, this is a bunch of mess. What is this even about?
And don't forget the plagiarism score. I think a lot of people don't realize, especially when doing your business, just like you didn't want your students or your kids to plagiarize and copy everything word for word, you never want to use machine learning and artificial intelligence word for word. Number one, it damages the integrity of you being a subject matter expert and the reason why someone hired you in the first place. And two, it can really destroy your brand as a cookie cutter, cut and paste kind of thing. And you never want to be that.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about community. Building a community around a media brand can be very challenging. What approaches have you found most effective in cultivating a loyal readership? And can you share an example of a campaign or project that really resonated with your audience?
Sure. There have been so many over the years. Let me say that. I believe that campaigning towards audiences, of course, has morphed in the last maybe 5 to 8 years, because prior to that, people were just throwing messages out there. It didn't really matter. They depended largely on traditional media, traditional advertising, billboards, ads, all those things. Once we got into the digital realm and more collective as communities. So you had the Facebook community, the Instagram community back in the day, Snapchat, Black People Meet, Black Planet. Remember Black Planet?
I remember Black
Do you
Planet.
remember that? That was like one of the that was one of the earlier communities of color that were exclusive, you know? So we found out that once we had these people congregating, they were congregating based on shared interests. And so what I did for Hustle Mama was I used everything that was important to me at the time. And one of my most successful campaigns was a couple years ago, we launched the Roots to Millionaire Fruits. And the Roots to Millionaire Fruits was a campaign where I taught women entrepreneurs how to create 10 streams of income from one business, product, service, or idea, and then how to repackage, re-engineer to multiply it every single time as a success formula. And it did really, really well. Another campaign that did really, really well was I had a campaign called Heal, Hack, Harness, Build. Heal your heart to your gifts and goals, hack your life and your business, harness your power, and build your digital empire. And Hustle Mamas, like moms, really single moms, and you didn't even have to be a mother, but just go-getter women really identified with that. And it was because I don't care how successful you are, how happy you are, how perfect your marriage is, so to speak. No matter, you could be living the dream. And I'm telling you that every woman carries some kind of something in their heart, whether it's from the past, a coworker, finances, emotional, it doesn't matter. We are heart carriers. So I believe that campaign, because we started with Heal Your Heart to Your Gifts and Goals, that was a success because a lot of women were just being robotic, either pursuing dreams that their parents told them to do or that they thought they were supposed to do, or being people they thought they were supposed to become without really understanding that once healing came, their gifts would come through and then their goals would model according to the gifts.
Awesome.
And thank you for asking that. I love these questions. Most of the time, people are just like, how do you make money? How do you make money? But I really love this approach because it's really a centered approach around tools for success. And I think we as women, we need that. Just give us the answers. We'll figure it out. Just tell me how to do it. Give me the roadmap,
Aren't we amazing? I can't even.
I
Women
love
are
me some
incredible.
us.
I do. I mean, we are just, so I had to tell a friend the other day, sometimes you're just getting on with it, and it's like if somebody catches you in a certain moment where you're maybe looking stoic or you're just like, no, I'm fine. I'm just getting on with it. I'm moving from one thing to the next. I'm okay. But right now, the focus is getting on with whatever is in front of me. And, that's just what we need to do. So, yeah, like I said, my youngest is almost 3. So there's a lot of getting on with it. And like, I just need, if people are like, well, how can we help? You can either take something on that doesn't require me to manage you, or you can just silently support. That would, either of those would be amazing. But like right now it's just do. So either jump in and do something or just give me some space.
Listen, get in where you fit in and don't charge anything to my heart. Okay.
And that's the other part, right? Yeah. Wow. Okay. So how do you balance tech? Because you're clearly entrenched in tech as a practitioner, education-wise, expertise, implementation, and even the nature of your business is tech. How do you balance the use of tech with maintaining that more human connection? Because I feel like that's one question that we do commonly ask on here, because people are it's becoming harder and harder for people to toe that line, because it is so much easier to plug and play and then to, tweak it and refine it. But then it's like, we can scale a lot of things, right? And I know that scaling is important for business, but how do you guys balance between tech and innovation and scaling, because you are a business, but then still maintaining a human connection?
Sure. For me in my business, I'm tech smart, but I'm human driven. Okay. So
Mhm.
I've always been a servant leader, whether it's because of my call to ministry or just my community service. I do a lot of mission work. I do a lot of global work. Most of my business actually is transitioning into Africa. And I've been in Africa for the last 10 years. And I believe that being in Africa and other countries that would be considered lagging to America, on the tech side, helps with that, because I think that you have to define what your business looks like and what you want it to do. And I've always been very intentional about that, and why I'm here, why I do, what I'm here to do it, and how I'm going to do it. And the human aspect, especially as a writer, okay, is very important, because I'm an artist. Writers are artists. I'm a creative, all that stuff. And my right brain, left brain is because I'm ambidextrous. So my science and tech and my creative side, the reason why I'm able to balance both is because I'm ambidextrous. So I think with both sides of my brain. I think, though, the most important thing any business owner, CEO, entrepreneur can do for themselves and can remember is that ultimately the customer identifies with a person. Your audience, your loyalists, your clients, they may be buying a result, but they're buying the result from you because of who you are and because how you've connected with them, no matter what. And as long as you don't lose that thread in the fabric of your business, you can have all the automations in the world. But what makes it your business, what makes that secret sauce, that secret ingredient, that je ne sais quoi, is only the elements that you bring to the table. And that's your experience, that's your flavor, that's your style, that's the thing that makes you you. And I believe that no matter what, I don't care what people say. I don't care how fast automation, scaling, all that stuff. Let me tell you something. I have never been so convinced that with all of this tech and machine learning, that there is a heavy, heavy dichotomy of people who just want to go back to the basics.
Yeah.
They want the human experience. They want the feel good experience that only comes from not going through an automated system, press one, press two, then to a bot, then to a this, then the customer service is another bot. No, they want to say, hi, can you help me with this? I think there's a starvation for that as well. And you can't go wrong just remembering why you're here to do what you do and how you plan to do it.
Yeah, I would definitely say, there are some things, it's even now to the point where it's a turn off. Yes, there are things that I would love for the automated system to tell me, your hours, my balance, you're this, you're that. But then there are other things that just I want to quickly get to a human, because I don't want to be here any longer than I have to either. I just need a person to tell me, and let's get it done so we can get off. I don't want to I don't even want to be on the phone with y'all. Whatever I'm calling for,
Right.
I promise you, I don't even really want to be doing it necessarily. So I'm looking to get this done as fast as possible. When I have to go through 3, 4, 5 clicks and say the thing, and they're not going to let you that's when I'm like, okay, now there has to be, no one thought this through. No one went through the customer journey and said, this is probably going to be a problem,
At all.
because we have this set of things that, are easy, quick things. We can have recordings. You can have AI tell you this, that, and the third. And then there are some things that somebody's probably going to have a problem with. And if they got a problem, they're already irritated. They don't want to be fiddling around your system.
For 10 minutes going through a prompt, 10 minutes
Uh-uh.
into a human being.
Yeah, so I agree with that. Like I said, I think scale is amazing. Much like you, I lead from the heart as well. I know for a fact it has cost me money
Yes,
and lost deals, and I'm okay with that
of course.
because I don't know how else to be. Like I don't know how to just, tell somebody, yeah, we can grow your marketing and sell out your product in 30 days with one Facebook ad campaign. I don't know how to do that. I'm gonna tell you up front. That's probably not the best idea of your money, the best use of your money. That's me. I'm gonna be on the call and I'm gonna say, I don't think you should do that yet. And here's why, because you're going to spend a lot of money.
Yep.
Other people will be like, oh yeah, you want to run a Facebook ad campaign? Oh yes, this is our fee. This is how much you need to spend. And at the end of 30 days, whether you sold something or not is like not of any concern to us. So I get it. I think those who can do both are incredible. Those who can embrace the tech and also lead from the heart is very unique, but I think it's of super value.
I think also the one thing that I believe gets lost in the tech sauce is the realistic truth, okay? The reality. I believe that because it's machine learning or AI based, people have this unrealistic expectation that it's perfect, that they're going to get all the results they want. And it's just not the truth. It's not. And like you, those of us in servant leadership roles, we're not going to lie to you. We're going to tell you the hard truth. And if we lose you. And it's okay because we can live with ourselves. And
That's it.
if you can live with yourself and look at yourself in the mirror, I don't take people's money because I can, and I could, but I'm not that type of person either. And let me tell you what I've learned from my own mistakes in spending with people who lied to me or who sold me, and it was horrific.
Yeah,
It leaves a bad taste in your mouth. So
it
it's
does.
not the best way to build a business because guess what? Not only will they never have me again, they'll never have any of my clients, any of my audience. I have a pretty big audience. So I would never damage someone's reputation, but if somebody asks me, I'm like, oh no, you better not.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. And I've been in communications for 20 years, started obviously 20 plus years, started in traditional PR, and neither public relations or marketing is an exact science. And so one of the things that I knew very early on when I was working for somebody or with my own business was transparency was going to be a core value. Being honest with somebody, letting them know, hey, we can expect this to take 6 to 9 months. Let me just tell you that out the gate. And then if we did, if we ran a campaign and it didn't do well, we're willing to look at what went wrong and, try to tweak or pivot. I just, like you said, to be able to live with myself, we don't make promises or guarantees. We can show our work and our results, and here's what we've done in the past. But, we try to lead with the transparency piece. And in my industry, it's pretty much as good as you can get. I see the ads all the time of people promising, and I'm like, you can't. Do you know Meta will shut down tomorrow? And what would you tell this client that you just promised was you don't have control over any of this stuff, none of it.
None. And let the algorithm change. And here's the thing, let the algorithm change. And then everything you've guaranteed is out the
window. Out the window. And I don't know about you. So this is probably my third time in business being in this space during an election year. And I've been telling colleagues and clients left and right, I've seen this happen twice already. Ad accounts being shut down without cause. You don't have to post anything political. Like maybe that's, if you're a new brand, if you're a new company, this probably isn't the time to try to launch an ad campaign because it's real murky. And once it shuts down, you can't just call Meta. Like you just shut down. And if you paid them $10,000,
It doesn't matter. You know,
It
I'm
doesn't
gonna tell
matter.
you something, Kelly. I actually, for my clients, when it comes to running social media ads, I don't advocate for fourth quarter ad runs at all. Okay. And in an election year, definitely not. And
No.
that's really because the big ticket campaign organizations are buying up all of the ad space. And even before Meta went to auction-based advertising, even when it was just financially based and audience targeting based, the fourth quarter, I mean, the music industry shuts down between December 15th and after the new year. A lot of businesses are closing out their year end. Fiscally, banking wise, no one's investing in businesses in the fourth quarter because they don't want that debt on their books. So the fourth quarter for me, I've always instructed my clients, use these 3 months to evaluate what you did all year long prior to, and to be strategic and intentional about what you want to see and have happen in the new year. Like that's the best use
Get
of
ready for the new year.
those 90 days.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Mm-hmm.
in marketing, certainly it's very reactive, and we encourage our clients to be a lot more proactive
Yes.
and to plan and to strategize. And yes, it may seem as simple as whipping out your phone and posting, which can happen occasionally, but you need a strategy. You know, it shouldn't be a surprise every day
Yes.
or every week what you're supposed to be posting or any of those kind of things. But anyway, I digress.
No, you're right. You're keeping it 100.
Yeah. So before we close out, Stefany, I really want to hear about what's next for Hustle Mama. What do you guys have coming up? Are there any big plans on the horizon for next year or the next 5 years, or what's coming up?
Okay, so I've been doing Hustle Mama now for 24 years, the magazine for 12. We had the app, the university, merchandise, trademarks, radio, all of those things. And a sister is Tyrant because, and I would say I grew up. Hustle Mama grew up, right? So, and that's what you want to happen. So we launched our final quarterly issue 2 weeks ago in October. We started quarterly. We became monthly after 2 years. So I felt it was only right that we end as a quarter since we started as a quarter. We're starting a new brand called The Business Minded. The Business Minded magazine launches in January. We already have a business minded network of businesses, over 15,000 members strong.
Wow.
Yes, I am the queen of organic traffic. I don't know if you knew that, but I am I am a scientist when it comes to organic traffic. I have been building platforms for my clients who wanted organic traffic for years, and I've discovered some of the loopholes in searches and search engine optimization. So we actually built that network over 2 years. It took us 2 years to get 15,000 people in our network, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
And then Hustle Mama right now gets about maybe 400,000 unique visitors every single month, which is unheard of. We have visitors in the millions. Most people pay for their traffic. We've never paid for traffic, not one day. I've never run one ad or solicited paid traffic for Hustle Mama. We've done it all organically. So what's next is the Business Minded magazine. It'll be starting quarterly in January. I can't say who we're having on the cover yet. I'm still waiting for the yes, but it's someone really, really big in the AI space. She's wonderful, pioneering. And I'm excited about that. And I've retired the magazine. I've been in talks. People have wanted to buy the brand, of course, and absorb the brand. And I turned down a couple of offers because it's very important to me that it maintains its integrity, and 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 it just doesn't go in the wrong direction because it's called Hustle Mama.
Right.
And so I do more, I'm moving, like I said earlier, more of my business is really across the continent. So I'm doing a lot of work across Africa, in multiple countries, and we're working on a big, big magazine publication that will be coming out of there and that relationship and those relationships. So I'm excited about that. And I'm still here, I still have my little collective of hustle mamas who have grown with me over the last 10 and 20 years that are from 30 years old to 60 years
Wow.
old. Like those are my peoples, those are my sisters. I love them, and so we'll see what happens. I'm very much into whatever God has for me is for me. I am led by spirit. I don't move without spirit. So just like I'm not really sure about every single thing, I'm sure God will reveal it. And I look forward to maybe a follow-up. I can say, girl, let me tell you what he did.
Well, it sounds like, you definitely have some exciting things coming up. That's pretty amazing.
Yes.
You have a tremendous legacy. I'm so glad that we were able to connect. I'm
Yes, me
excited to
too.
share this story. And yeah, I mean, we'll definitely stay connected and
For
maybe we'll do a
sure.
follow-up and see sometime after the new year. But in the meantime, that's going to wrap our show. So thank you to our incredible guest, Dr. Stefany Jones, founder and CEO of Hustle
Thank you.
Mama. We'll have contact information for Dr. Stefany Jones in the show notes for anyone interested in keeping up with what's coming up next. If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.